Let's continue our analysis of Sharot and Sunstein's book, Look Again. This is the final part of our discussion, focusing on societal change. Previously, we discussed how societies can decline when people become habituated to negative aspects, like lies and oppression. If a society has many issues that people have grown accustomed to, what happens when we attempt dishabituation? Historical experience shows that dishabituation can threaten social stability. For instance, Saddam Hussein's dictatorship in Iraq involved oppression and unfairness, yet people endured it because Saddam provided order and stability. When the U.S. military overthrew his regime to promote democracy, the result was chaos. Political division, sectarian conflict, drug abuse, and the rise of ISIS. Many Iraqis questioned the value of freedom. This aligns with a common pattern. In 2006, political scientist Ian Bremmer published The J-Curve, a new way to understand why nations rise and fall. This diagram illustrates the relationship between social freedom and stability. The horizontal axis represents the degree of openness. The far left is highly closed, representing totalitarian societies with no freedom. Moving rightward indicates increasing openness, with the far right representing free democratic societies. The vertical axis represents stability. The J-curve suggests that both highly closed and fully open societies are stable, but the most dangerous period is the middle transition from totalitarianism to democracy, where the nation becomes extremely unstable. Let's think about it. Today, some countries are still highly closed, and their citizens have little freedom but feel that this is fine and are very afraid of change. Their fears are justified. This concept applies beyond political systems to other social changes. Sharot and Sunstein's example is the women's rights movement. It's hard to imagine now, but until the 1960s and 70s, women's legal status in the U.S. was inferior to men's. Until 1964, it was legal to refuse to hire someone just because she was a woman. Until 1968, it was legal to refuse to rent a house to a woman. Until 1974, it was legal to deny a woman a credit card. In the 1950s, women had even lower social status and struggled to find respectable jobs. Were American women living miserable lives back then? No. Studies showed that women were as happy as men, if not happier. They didn't feel oppressed. Then came the feminist movement, achieving legal equality by the 1980s. Did women's happiness increase? Quite the opposite. Women's happiness declined. Lack of freedom seemed to bring more happiness. Look at women in the Arab world today. By our standards, they are oppressed, yet they don't complain about their society and might protest against Western values. Meanwhile, Western women often feel unhappy. Why is this? Is male dominance natural? Of course not. Legal equality raised women's expectations. Happiness is determined by the gap between expectations and reality. Previously, women didn't expect equal rights, so they were content. Now, women are told they should have equality, but in reality, they still face disparities. More housework, lower incomes, and less recognition in scientific fields. The gap between expectations and reality makes them unhappy. So, should a society give its people high expectations if reality is poor? As Lu Sun said in the preface to Outcry. Suppose there is an iron house without windows, impossible to break. Inside, many people are sleeping, soon to suffocate to death, unaware of their impending demise. If you now shout and wake up a few of the more conscious ones, causing this unfortunate few to suffer the irreversible agony of their final moments, do you think you are doing them a favor? This is the paradox of the iron house. Reality might be even more complex. The iron house might not kill them. They've lived there happily for years. If all women become aware and society achieves true gender equality, they would be happier. As Iraq is better now. But they must endure a period of unhappiness first. Sharot and Sunstein call this the U-curve. Happiness is high at both ends but low in the middle. Similar to Bremmer's J-curve. There are many such examples. In normal countries, income is the main factor affecting happiness. But in Africa, income has little impact. Why? Because everyone is poor and doesn't expect wealth. Afghanistan has severe crime and corruption, but Afghans' happiness isn't affected by it. They don't expect safety or clean governance. In developed countries, healthcare is excellent, yet people complain. In countries with poor healthcare systems, people don't complain because they never expected good services. Should you really wake people up? Qian Xuantong's response to Lu Sun was, "Since a few have awakened, you can't say there's no hope of breaking the iron house." Let's return to women's rights. American women used to be at a disadvantage in family and economic status and were genuinely bullied by men. There was a time when workplace sexual harassment was considered normal. In the 1950s, career guides suggested women use their attractiveness to gain professional advantages. How did society change from that to today's strict rules against harassment? Because of a key figure. Catharine MacKinnon. In 1978, MacKinnon, a legal scholar, published Sexual Harassment of Working Women. Her book achieved three things that changed American history. First, MacKinnon coined the term sexual harassment. Naming a phenomenon makes it visible, leading to automatic pattern recognition. Second, MacKinnon legally defined sexual harassment as gender discrimination. At a time sensitive to civil rights, this redefined harassment as a systemic social issue, not just a moral one. Third, MacKinnon detailed women's experiences, making the issue tangible. Readers saw harassment as absolutely unacceptable. Today, opposing sexual harassment is workplace common sense, with strict behavior codes. Many women contributed to this, but MacKinnon's role was crucial, as she was the first to stand up. MacKinnon initiated societal dishabituation to sexual harassment in the U.S. Rejecting the status quo and initiating change embodies entrepreneurial spirit. Sharot and Sunstein call such individuals dishabituation entrepreneurs. Many societal changes come from these entrepreneurs. Actually, we also have dishabituation entrepreneurs in China. A former classmate of mine once did something remarkable. When a man made a frivolous comment about her, she immediately called it out as sexual harassment and posted screenshots of their WeChat conversation to her social media. Biologist Yan Ning, often labeled beauty scientist or Tsinghua goddess, strongly resents such terms. Think about it. Why emphasize female scientist? Do scientists gain fame through looks? Such terms border on sexual harassment. Don't endure injustice. Dishabituation entrepreneurs don't tolerate it. You might not become a dishabituation entrepreneur or even publicly support them, but if you encounter one, don't undermine them. These individuals drive societal evolution from barbarism to civilization. Consider the women in MacKinnon's book who were harassed. Did they really grow accustomed to it? Of course not. They were in pain but lacked a voice. Victims are a minority. Most people accept the status quo, refusing to acknowledge the darkness. Some are uncomfortable but fear speaking out. Others are willing to resist but need a leader. Dishabituation entrepreneurs stand up without precedent, challenging what they deem wrong. When most people in the Iron House believe they are happy, these entrepreneurs refuse to accept it. Why do such people exist? Is entrepreneurial spirit innate? Sharot and Sunstein suggest that exposure to different ways of life can inspire dishabituation entrepreneurship. Like Lu Sun, living abroad might show you alternative lifestyles, making the Iron House unbearable. Or, as Yuval Noah Harari suggests, Homo sapiens possess the unique ability to imagine non-existent things. Some people in the Iron House recognize its darkness. Or, as George Gilder states, entrepreneurs are heralds of the future, meant to create new realities. From a scientific perspective, Lu Sun's Iron House paradox isn't a paradox. It's not about whether to wake people. Some inherently resist the status quo and choose to act. They have the right to be dishabituation entrepreneurs. Whether it's the J-curve or U-curve, history shows that everyone will eventually awaken, stabilizing society again. This concludes our discussion of Look Again. Habituation and dishabituation are fundamental principles with profound impacts. You just need to look again.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.